Welcome to Tuesday Tea, the space where we get real, get honest, and talk about the things that actually matter. I'm your host, Alicia Bakar-Mudrak, therapist, Pilates teacher, coach, and author of Leading Lady Energy.
And I'm Melissa Levine, educator, coach, and your co-host for the conversations that don't shy away from the messy, the meaningful, and everything in between.
Each week, we sit down with incredible humans, leaders, creatives, parents, dreamers, people who've lived, struggled, succeeded, and figured things out the hard way.
We share stories, ask real questions, and highlight the badass people out there doing the work.
So grab your tea
Or your other favorite beverage.
and let's dive in. Hey everyone, we are excited to be back for our final episode for who knows, maybe forever, maybe for a little bit, maybe for a long bit. Just me and Melissa here today. We want to talk a little bit about just some like reflections, little favorite moments, ahas, and kind of where we're going next and why we're sort of putting a pause and closing this chapter. But excited to kind of get into it all. I will put Melissa on the spot and kind of let her maybe start with maybe what are some of your biggest little takeaways from joining when you did and being a guest before that, and sort of some like small reflections maybe that you're having.
That's great. I don't know if I've ever thanked you. So I'll take the time to say that now. I think this was such a great opportunity and it came into my life in a time and a space that I felt like maybe I didn't even know I needed it. But then, as you said, I was a guest a couple of times and I just always left feeling like so poured into. And so almost like you feel when you leave therapy, but like less emotionally exhausted.
Yeah.
So like all good stuff. And just like, yeah, like I was just going through the last few years, just like such a season of change and stretching and growing. And I think it was such an amazing opportunity that I got to like, be on this journey with you for a little bit. And we just had some really amazing guests that like the connections. I don't know. I'm just like such a big believer in connections, especially with other women and just like pouring into other women. And I think it helps like empower us all. And I don't know, I just felt like there's how lucky we are to like have so many people in our lives that like we get to interact with, but also that would be willing to do this. And I just always left feeling so encouraged, or like I always got something. I think one of my biggest things that I got was just like that idea of leaning into like really who you are and like unapologetically you. I think that's so easy to say and it sounds really good to be like, oh yeah, like I don't give a fuck, And I remember Jillian, one of our, my friend Jillian, one of our guests saying like, but like actually we all really do care a lot what people think and we don't admit that. And so just like really leaning into like who you are and being self-aware, but then also getting to a space where you can say, I actually don't have to do that. And not because I need to give anyone an explanation or not because there's any reason. I just don't want to do that. And I think that's like something I've needed to examine in my own life for a really long time. And so I think just that like message of positivity, like uplifting yourself. Like sometimes I think I wait for other people to affirm me because that is one of my love languages is the words of affirmation. And not to say that that isn't awesome, but it's also like I have to like be able to affirm myself and like really lean into like recognizing what I need or what I don't need, what my triggers are and all of those things. And I think in different ways, all of our guests have kind of helped me like with a little piece of something I needed, which has been really, really good. Yeah. What about you?
I'm thinking back, like, I guess it's been 2 years in March is how long I've been doing this. This will be our 99th episode. And so many stories, so many voices, so many like interesting people. And I think one of the coolest parts is everyone who was on this was someone I like had a personal connection to. I didn't have anyone just totally random, right? Like not everyone was like my best friend or I knew like 100% and some were like through one connection over, but like what a huge sphere of influence and like network that I feel so blessed to have through all my different types of professions and spaces.
Yeah.
And I think the other piece I've really loved so much is that a lot of these folks, some are seasoned speakers and do all the things and have their own podcasts, but a lot had never done anything like this before. And it's been so cool to hear people say like, oh my gosh, I have something interesting to share. Or it was so fun to like get to talk and actually realize how much I know or have people give feedback to them and them get to like hear how they're impacting people. And so
Yeah.
I think just again, like I also like connecting and I like bringing people together. And even if like one person listens to this, that's enough because it's sharing it with someone else. And I think it's just been so fun to get to one, like learn and hear from everyone. And like you said, just so many brilliant themes and topics and poignant messages to kind of take
Yeah.
home. But like also just getting to know to give people a platform that
Totally.
they might not have otherwise, or now they might go seek out because they should and they have great things to
Yeah.
say. And if you're listening and you've never done one, I hope you find like there's so many podcasts out there. You could find somewhere to talk to and like share your story. So I think that's just been really humbling and I have felt really privileged to get to provide that for
Yeah.
people over these last 2 years.
Yeah. And I think maybe another lesson that I had from, doing this with you for a little bit is like, I just like invited myself to do it. And I think like I mean, obviously you're not like a scary person or like you're someone familiar to me. So I'm going to be more risk. Like I'll take risks with you because I know it's safe. And worst case, you can be like, oh no, thanks. I don't want a partner. And I'd be like, okay, like, and that would have been fine with me.
Yeah.
But I think maybe there's some underlying thing of like, sometimes if you see something you want, like it's okay to like go try to get it. And maybe it's a no, maybe it's a not right now, but maybe it's a yes. And maybe it gives you something either for a season or for a long time or whatever the time frame. It just gives you something really special. I think it did give me something special. And I think it was like my plate was already really full. I took this on and I never felt like it was too much work. And because it was like always just filling me up at the same time. Right. And I think maybe that leads us to a little bit of like why we're choosing to like press the pause button right now. So I don't know if you wanted to like share a little bit more about like, just like how you arrived at this and kind of like what your thoughts are and what else is kind of like in the pipeline for you.
Yeah. When I started this 2 years ago, I didn't know what it was going to be. I was like in a coaching program and a business program, and I was like, I need a newsletter, but I don't want to write about something every week. So I'll do like a podcast or just like at first it was just a YouTube like channel, nothing big. But then it just kept going and people liked it and people were like waiting for it. So I kept doing it and I learned a lot. However, I think I'm definitely a person that likes to do things 100% and to really grow this in the way that it deserves and what it could be. I just like woke up one morning and I was like, I don't have the bandwidth to keep playing in so many sandboxes, right? Like I feel very fortunate. And we were kind of chatting before we started recording, but this is definitely a season of abundance. My therapy practice continues to stay steady, but always kind of like growing. And that takes up a good chunk of time, which is important to me. But also, I started this pop-up Pilates business a year ago in June. So we're almost at our 1 year. And it's just like taking off lately. And we're booked out through August. We keep getting requests for private events. We keep getting requests for other partnerships. Like it's so overwhelming and humbling, but those two things really need my attention and my like 100% because they're just in this new chapter in this new season. And as much as this is fun to do and selfishly we get a lot out of it, I think it also is taking away from some other endeavors that really need that focus right now. So I feel like it was so clear. I hadn't even really been thinking about it at the front of mind. I guess I had been back here. I just woke up and I was like, this is going to be the last month. And it was like the most right feeling I've ever had. And it felt like a relief and just like a good thing. But this takes time, to like add and put it together and make graphics. Like it's not nothing. And so I think, again, while I'll miss parts of it, and that's why I wasn't saying forever and I'll never do something like this again, because I think I enjoy this piece. I mean, I talk to people for a living in private, so it's fun to do it in public too. But I also think I needed to just honor where I'm at and what makes sense for my use of energy, because it's not good to do 30% at three things. I'd rather do 50 and 50 or 100 in both things and really make them great than sort of good and have a lot of just good things hanging around because it's not as fulfilling and it's taking away from everything I'm doing as well, right? Like it's hurting me in the long run to keep spreading myself so thin. So,
and I think it's okay to say the return on my investment is not worth it at this juncture, right? And I think sometimes this is so applicable to not just like the podcast and everything else you've got going on. It's also so applicable to life. Like sometimes we get so, for lack of a better word, married, and it could mean that theoretically or like like literally or figuratively, that we get so attached to things and just because they were amazing or purposeful or fulfilling in one stage of our life doesn't mean that they have to be forever. And I think
Right.
it can feel weird or scary to like be so okay with like being done with something or letting go. But I mean, we've heard from lots of guests that have had some kind of loss, either like a relationship or a job or an actual human, where they have had to just come to terms with like, it's okay that this isn't a forever thing. And I think sometimes for whatever reason, we get hung up on like, oh no, like I have to make this work. And it's like, what? Actually, like, do we? Like, we don't have to make it work. If it gets to the point where, like you said, it's draining you from the other things that are either bringing you joy or money or, giving you whatever else you need, or it's just not enjoyable, or it's just not really, you're just not feeling it. Like, there doesn't have to be like a crazy explanation. It can just be like, this isn't really it for me. And I think that's okay.
Yeah. And I truly do love talking to people,
Yeah,
but I think it's like the admin part was not
totally.
as exciting anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it's served its course. I think now these stories live forever now, which is awesome. And I also love that idea of legacy and really putting things down and being able to come back to them and see
Yeah,
them and use them for whoever
totally.
wants to be, even if they're not new ones, like go back 2 years ago. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Probably not. Like re-listen. Um, and also I think it taught me a lot of things I needed. It grew my network in ways I needed to. It introduced me to the right people. And like you said, everything has like a season. And I'm totally fine with that after having moved
Mhm.
so much in my life and had so many
Totally.
seasons of so many things. Like you just have to kind of embrace it. It's not always like easy. There's always a
Yeah.
loss. Like there's always another side to what you're gaining. But
Yeah.
I feel really excited and energized. And I'm very hopeful that some platform like this will exist again in maybe some of the other endeavors I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's been a fun ride. And I'm like a deep thank you to everyone who has participated or
Yeah.
listened or followed along. It
For sure.
wouldn't be anything without that. It would just be us talking in a vacuum to each
Which
other.
would
Yeah,
still be
which
fun.
is also fine, like a catch up. But I've gotten such good feedback from different episodes from different individuals, and
Mhm.
so it's always fun to see it, who's listening
Yeah,
and what resonated with people.
for sure.
Are there any like quotes or
Mm.
takeaways or like what's the word I'm looking for? Like tips or things that have like kind of like stuck with you from anyone in particular?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things, I think. I remember Jason, he was like our first man
Mm-hmm.
that we had on. And so
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's just also like one of my best friends. And so that was just like super special to have him on. But I think I remember him saying like what he wanted to leave us with was just like that community and connection piece. And like the more we talk and the more we like come together and just like speak to other people, the sort of the better off the world will be. And I know that sounds like really oversimplified, but I really do believe in that. And like the older I get, the more like my community and those connections with people are important. I think still to this day, my favorite episode of all time is Captain Amy.
Amy Beach,
I
yeah.
just like, we love a badass woman anyway, right? And
Yeah.
just like thinking about all the things that she had to overcome, in particular, like just in her role in like a very male dominated, um, space. And just like all the stuff that comes with the armed forces and all the institutionalized stuff. But
Yeah.
then also to say that she had some like really amazing men that were in her corner too. And just like that weird juxtaposition of the people that were making it hard for her in some ways. Some were men in systems, right? But like some were other women. And so I
Huh?
think she talked a lot about leadership and just the kind of like leader that she wanted to be. And I really resonated with that. It's like something that I think about too in my work,
Hmm.
that about the kind of leader and how you get people to follow you. And so that really resonated with me. But I think what I took mostly from that is just that sometimes women are really hard on each other. And I think, man, it's like we have so many other things coming at us and trying to like, kind of hold us down. It's disappointing, and it makes me want to like support women that much more when I hear a story like that,
No.
because I think,
Uh-huh.
man, like we have so much going for us and so much strength and just so much power. I think women are amazing. And so if we can all just like support each other, it's like they say like the rising tide lifts all ships. And I think that
Yep.
that's so true. And yeah, I think if we could lean into more of that energy, that could be really amazing for all of us.
Yeah.
Those are the two I think that stuck out with me, at least in this moment.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think it was also pretty cool more recently that I got to have each of the owners of the new Pilates studios in my city come
Yeah.
on and share their journey. That's been really fun too. It wasn't like intended. It just kind of happened, but
Yeah.
it's always like cool to catch people in their very early stages of something when they're
Totally.
still in all the feelings and don't know what it will be yet. And
Mhm.
I'm hopeful that maybe they all will go back and listen to those and remind themselves like X
Yeah.
amount of years down the road when they're killing it and so successful, just remembering what it felt like here or what they were thinking now. And so that was kind of a cool opportunity to get to hear some of those stories, learn more about them
Yeah.
myself, and capture sort of that in real time as some of
Mhm.
our more recent guests.
Yeah.
We also had, it was before you came on, but this individual named Elizabeth, who I knew through a business mastery course that I was teaching. She had this tip about holding like tension in our mouth. And
Mm.
you close your mouth and your tongue is like touching the top of your mouth. It means you're like, it's turned on wrong. So it should be
Mm.
resting. So now, like all the time throughout the day, I'm always like, put
I
my
just
tongue
was
down.
doing it. I'm like, wait, what
Yeah,
am
and because
I
we hold
doing?
so much tension. So it's like a thing I think about regularly. Like, it was just a random little tip she gave and
Yeah.
talked about other things that whole episode, but it's something I always think about because I hold so much stress here. I also still hold when Annette was on and she was like, I actually hate football. And I'm dead because like her husband, I was good friends with him and all his friends and all like that whole group is like football people. So it's just funny for her to like pretend it and gone for a while until she finally was like, you know what? I fucking don't even like
Oh,
this sport.
Annette.
Yeah, I was like
Yeah.
dead about it because
Mhm.
it was the most honest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I think like we all need to be more honest about that in our lives.
I
Sometimes it
agree
doesn't
with
mean we're
that.
not going to go or be there, but just like don't pretend, right? Like I still
Yeah.
think about that quote or that line because I remember just bursting out laughing. It was just very funny. It struck me.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember that too. Now
yeah,
that you bring it up, I really
yeah,
enjoyed her episode too.
yeah,
She's got good
killing
energy.
it. I think she just got a promotion recently too. So
That's
congrats, girlfriend.
awesome.
And wrote a children's book. It's really cute. If you, it's in Spanish and English. It's ABCs.
Oh,
It's on
I
Amazon.
love it.
But yeah, I think it's just cool. It's like cool that I got the opportunity. People trusted me and us with
Mhm.
their stories and this space to just like hear from so many unique perspectives and places and people and things. And from so many, like I said, just different worlds in my life. Some were just like really personal friends. Some are people I knew from this state, from that state, from another
Yeah.
state. Some are professionals I know in the therapy world, professionals I know in the coaching world, professionals I know in the Pilates world, and just local people, then friends that you've brought in through you. Like
Mhm.
it's just, or my friend Brittany sharing about her postpartum journey. I mean, just like hard stuff
Yeah.
that what vulnerable stories, but I
Mhm.
think it says a lot about this space that it was safe and contained and comfortable. So people felt like they could show up and
Yeah.
really be their authentic selves without that
Mhm.
risk and all the reward, especially just because of the overwhelming responses and
Yeah.
support and feedback and how much those stories have helped or informed or shaped like other
Yeah.
folks as well.
Yeah. And everyone that I talked to, like after they came on, they were like so excited and like, thank you so much. And it's like, thank
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think it's funny how every time we talk to someone new, I felt like there was sorry, not every time, but a lot of times there was, like you said earlier, this feeling of like, I mean, yeah, I'll do it if you think I have something to add. And I'm like, oh, that's just like sometimes so sad that people don't see like their own value and their worth like the way we see
Yeah.
it. And so I think that's a beautiful thing about this that you have been able to like create not only like space where people can share and that kind of helps them feel more valuable because they're like, oh, like
Mhm.
someone wants to hear from me. But yeah, it also kind of, we're supporting each other again, right? Like in making it feel like you do have something to say, you do have something of value. People want to hear this, or like someone out there will hear this and it will resonate. And I think that, again, that's like supporting women, but it's also creating connections and creating
Mhm.
the conditions that people can have more empathy and want to support each other more. Because I think the more we learn from other people, the better we can do about like being more empathetic and being more understanding
Yeah.
and supportive, you know?
Yeah. And the more human people are, the more grace and love and kindness
Totally.
and understanding we have for them, right? Like when we other people is when we act out of fear and hate and
Totally.
these really nasty spaces. But when someone has a name and a voice and a story and a background and context, we're forced to see them fully,
Totally.
not just as like this judgmental piece that we've put on them. And we're
For sure.
humans, we judge. It's how we survive in the world, but it also is our biggest detriment. So I think
Yeah.
just even I learned a lot. Like people I thought I knew things about and then like learned something new and I was like, oh gosh, you know,
Yeah.
like that's so wild or interesting or like that makes sense. So I
Yeah.
just think it's we don't always, you know, we're always learning about each other. We don't actually know any 100%. Like, you know,
Totally.
it's impossible, but like just remembering to always be curious and continue to remain open. And maybe something just to leave people with as like something to think about, like keep asking people to share their stories.
Yeah.
Get curious, ask questions. You know, something I did with my parents and we did with my mother-in-law, we gifted them those like books. They write like a prompt every week for a whole year and then it makes it into a book. And so these are things that we'll get to have later on. Because when my grandmother passed, I did a paper on her in college and I hate that I don't know where they are. Like I had recordings, like we talked and then I wrote the paper from that. I don't have those anymore. And so it's just what I can remember and what I put in the paper.
Yeah.
There's so many like interesting stories. I mean, she lived through World War II and like had been married once before, I think, and then moved and like her crazy background with her alcoholic father and her brother died young, like
Yeah.
just wild stuff before even like she became the
Yeah.
mother of my dad. And I just wish I had like had her write more stuff down because then she got dementia. And by the time I did get a little older and was thinking more about those things, she couldn't like share that stuff with us anymore. And so I'm not like, I mean, obviously we're all going to die, but no one's dying anytime soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I think it's just like get those stories, write them down, put them somewhere, record them, like have them live somewhere because that's the kind of stuff that I think we're going to want more than we think, more than some of the other just dumb shit we attach ourselves to in this day and age. But I think I'm also reading this really good book called The Correspondent right now. And it's about this, it's just this woman who's writing letters and the whole book is told through the letters she writes and receives. It's brilliant. Like go read it if you haven't. But it's like this art, this lost art of just writing. And
Yeah.
and like because she's saying like your texts and all that will mean you add them all up, it says really nothing and those will go away. But like these letters will forever live past me and they're a jigsaw puzzle. The other counterparts are in the world together and they like make this beautiful story.
Right.
And not need to start writing letters to everyone, but maybe you should. But I think like having it where we record in the written word who we are and what we did and
Yeah.
of us, we're losing that a bit. And I think it's something really powerful. Or even
Yeah.
if it's a video medium, like, but there's still a transcript to it. Like, so I think maybe I'm
Totally.
encouraging people to explore how you can leave your own like legacy, but also be curious about those in your life, especially those who might be, you know, not around as long or you want to get that sooner than later. It's like you don't always have tomorrow to ask. So I think it's just an interesting thing that I've kind of thought of from hearing and learning just
Yeah.
about my friends in new ways, but then other folks in my life.
Yeah.
as well.
I love that. And it's also like a nice way to remember yourself. Like I think we go through
Mhm.
journeys of ourself of like, you know, maybe a season of life you're feeling one way and like you're always you, but like, you know, things are ebbs and flows, right? So sometimes I think having that even of yourself to go back and listen to these episodes, you could be like, wow, like look how far I've come or wow,
Yeah.
like that's crazy that I used to think that. Or I mean, that I must have been in
Yeah.
a really interesting moment in my life, but there's value to like remembering where you've been and where you want to go and where you've come from and all in between. I think that's really beautiful. So I love that. I think that's something we should all try to do more.
Any last thoughts or words or?
I just think if you're listening and you've been on this journey with Alicia and then me for the last little bit, like, thank you. Thank you. It's hard and vulnerable, like to share your stories, but I think there's so much power in vulnerability. And so I just encourage everyone to be vulnerable when you can and be kind because we never know what someone's going through. And yeah, you all know where to find me if you want to reach out. I love talking to people. I've actually followed several of your friends from these shows and like we like stay connected on social media now, which is just
Love it.
like the beautiful thing about this is like just because this piece is ending for now, we have all these connections and ways to stay in contact. So if you want to get in contact with me, you all know how to find me.
Yeah. And thank you guys so much for just showing up, listening, trusting me with your stories and delivering them. Thank you for reading the newsletters, like following and exploring the people that have spoken to you. And same, I'm still around. I'm just going to be doing some other things. And if you're ever in Southwest Florida, come to one of my pop-ups because they're really fun. But it's been beautiful, been fulfilling. It's been a journey to grow and learn. And thank you so much for the wisdom you all have shared with me. And thank you for being here, showing up, and supporting us. Until another time, maybe. But for now, we say goodbye.
Hey, everyone.
Yay! Thanks for hanging out with us on this episode of Tuesday Tea. We hope something here landed, encouraged you, or made you feel a little less alone.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to follow, rate, and share the podcast. It helps more people find these stories.
And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. It really supports the show.
For more ways to connect with us or learn about what we do, check out the links below.
And until the next cup, keep the tea hot
And